Sous vide cooking has become incredibly popular. People are gravitating towards the precise way of cooking. And you can find sous vide units readily available on Amazon or even at your local Canadian Tire or similar big box stores wherever you live anywhere in the world. And people love it because of the precision. They're able to cook meat at the correct temperature. You're never going to overcook a steak. But also, people are using it for other purposes. One thing that is become very prevalent about sous vide cooking though is that it uses a lot of plastic. And one of the goals I have is to reduce as much plastic that I have and use in the kitchen. So today I want to break down a very simple recipe for cooking lentils not using plastic in a sous vide unit. Stay tuned. Greetings everybody, Brian Singh here from Brian's Table, and today we are going to make lentils in a reusable container. Sure, I have a great video out there if you haven't seen it before of me making lentils in a pot on the stove behind there, and I also made a soup with it, just showing you how to use lentils that you have on hand. You can check it out over here. But one of the things I really love is to have lentils on hand all the time. And one thing that I typically do, and this is something that I do for my private dinners as well, is that I use plastic bags to cook lentils in. It's great because you just put your lentils, water, and in this case, I put some aromatics in here. And I could just put that into my sous vide unit, take it out, and it finishes cooking in the bag, and I put it in the fridge, and I have lentils on hand whenever I want them. But I'm really not satisfied with using plastic this way. So my goal, as I said, is to reduce as much plastic as I can in the kitchen. And it's not because I am anti-plastic, but it's also, if it is a single-use plastic, I really want to reduce that use as much as possible, doing what I can for the planet. All right, let's break down the process here and let's get to the recipe. This recipe could not be simpler. It just requires 3 items. Let's break it down for you. The first one, it is lentils. And for the lentils, we could use a combination. I'm using here French lentils. There's great Italian lentils. There's also lentils from India, stuff that they use in dal. You could use any one. The ratio works of a 2-to-1 ratio of lentils to water. So experiment and see how it all works. Of course, a few hairs slipped out because I'm being, because that's the kind of reckless person I am. Anyhow, let me clean this up here. The other critical item to this, it is water. And you're just gonna, as I said before, it's a ratio recipe. For every cup of lentils, you're gonna use 2 cups of water. So just want to get into a few variations here, and they work well with this, is that with water, you can replace it with stock. If you want to add aromatics to the lentils, as I showed you in the plastic bag there, great, you can do that. But because I want to use this as a platform for other flavors, I'm just going to keep it really simple. So let's get to the method. So just move that off here. You need your trusty kitchen scale. I have my good old AccuWeight one here. I love it. It's very accurate, has a good rating. And what I also did in the meantime was I took the liberty of measuring 1 cup of lentils here. I rinsed it. Again, you should always rinse your beans or legumes or pulses because there's usually a little bit of dirt on it. All right, so this is telling me with the container and the lentils in it, it's 748 grams. I'm just gonna tare this to 0, and I'm gonna add 2 cups of water here. There's 1, there's 2. I just do a little bit less, but as long as you're in the ballpark, everything should be fine. All right, so now I'm seeing here 432 grams of water. So that's telling me at a 1% salt solution, I should be looking for about 4 grams of salt in here. So I'm just going to tare this again And again, when it comes down to small measurements, take whatever you have on some of these scales with a grain of salt. Ha ha ha. Because they're not as accurate on small measurements. But I'm going to be aiming here for about 4 grams. I'm just going to keep adding here. 4 grams should be roughly about 1 teaspoon. There you go. 4 grams on here. And I'm just going to give this a stir. Why not use my finger? There you go. All right, so this is the key to this. I'm going to seal this up. One of the problems is, and this is why people like to use plastic, is that containers leak. So the goal here is to get the water up to this level here and to give as much heat to the container without water seeping in. So I have my handy sous vide unit here, and for this method you want to be able to cook it between 185 and 190 degrees Fahrenheit, or between 85 and 90 degrees Celsius. So if we delve into my sous vide unit here, I have a tank one here, and if you have a stick, you're going to be most probably using it in a tank as well. So to make sure that nothing gets into the lentils, I'm going to MacGyver a solution here. I'm going to put a ramekin at the bottom. I know I should be doing this with gloves on, but that's okay. I got Teflon fingers. And I'm going to take the container, and I'm just going to rest it on there. There should be a bit of displacement, and it takes it right up to below the level of the lid. And we are going to put the lid on there, and that's it. You leave that in there for 1 hour, and you're done that particular phase of the cooking. I'm going to set my time on my watch for 1 hour and 5 minutes. Give it a little extra, and we'll check back on it when it's done. It's been just over 1 hour, so let's see where our lentils are at. I'm gonna take it out here. I know, Teflon fingers. Has a bit of water on it, and what's kind of cool about it is because of the heat and cooking, it's absorbed a bit of the air, so it's sucked down a bit. Let's open this and see what it looks like. Fantastic. So these are cooked and they are ready and they are firm. Let's see how they taste. Oh, perfect. These will be great for salad. So these are now ready to be used in another dish. So how do you store this? Well, you just put the lid back on and in the fridge it goes. And you're done. So what did we learn from this? You don't need plastic to cook some of these veggies. If you want to use a method like that, you can drastically reduce the amount of plastic you use in the kitchen. And if you want to be using your sous vide machine, you could reduce the plastic use there dramatically. So folks, tell me about some of the strategies you use to reduce the amount of plastic you use in the kitchen. I'd love to hear from you, and maybe the content of a future video. Kitchen hacks. Let's do it. Okay folks, thanks again for watching. I greatly appreciate the time you spent with me. Hit the like button, please subscribe, and you go out there, taste the world, but with a little less use of plastic.